Welcome to the Matson Shooting Academy podcast. If you're a clay target shooter, then we have what you're looking for. Speaking with some of the best in the industry about the game you're passionate about. Subscribe to the Clay Lab on YouTube and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast platform. The Matson Shooting Academy podcast is brought to you by Castellani USA, Greenwood Custom Stocks, and Ranger Eyewear. Here's your host, Cody Matson of Matson Shooting Academy.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Got a guest on this evening who started a online GunsBay.com. So GunsBay.com offers innovative online listing service tailored for the firearms community, including sportsmen, clay target shooters, firearms collectors, enthusiasts. So Justin Covillon, somebody may better know him as LAXY. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, man. Thanks. Happy to be here. Oh, yeah, very happy.
Absolutely. So I'm excited to have you on the show. I know that you are passionate about the clay target sports, and I want people to know all about you and what you're up to. So give me some history on you.
Yeah, well, I come from the laboratory diagnostic world. So as you can imagine, during COVID, I had zero life. So for 4 years, I just worked my butt off every day, nonstop grinding. I was actually the CEO of Crest Diagnostics, not Quest, but Crest like the toothpaste. And so when we were doing that, it was mostly COVID testing kits at that point. We had gone from being, a supplier of pipetters, centrifuges, microscopes, like you name it, we sold it. And at the end, it was just test kits. And so as soon as it started dying down, I went with my buddy to a gun shop and I picked up a pump shotgun and I think a Glock 19. And I hadn't shot a gun in 20 years, right? But I was just like, I want to go play around, So I went and I posted on Facebook on my story with my pump shotgun. I went to a sporting clays course and I was not doing very good at all. I hadn't even shot it all, but my buddy James, James Gannon, who's my business partner, we went to junior high together in Boise, Idaho. And so at this time I was living in Florida, but he hit me up and he said, Justin, you should think about taking it serious, get an over under, start getting lessons and start, registered for NSCA. And at the time I started shooting US PSA, the pistols, right? But, once you start getting really heavily involved in one of the areas, you really don't have time for the other ones anymore. I was shooting long range. I was shooting long range. I was shooting pistols, and then I was shooting shotguns. And so I was alternating weekends and like Wednesdays. So I sold my position in my laboratory. I just got out of it completely, and then just kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. My buddy James had a Parazzi, high tech, and so I was like, wow, I really like that gun. And then so I wanted to get a nicer gun too, but I didn't know where to look, right? And then so I saw on Holts.com, based out of England, I was like, these look like they're cheaper, but I have no idea how to import a gun. I have no idea how to even figure this out. So I just started bidding. Where do you even start? Yeah. So I just started bidding on this gun because I thought it was beautiful, right? And then so I started bidding on it, and I ended up winning it. But which is funny too, because my buddy Johnny from TGS, he actually reviewed it in a video, and then so we had become pretty good friends. We met at nationals. Skipping forward a little bit, but he actually reviewed the exact same gun that I ended up buying. Right?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So he goes, "Of course you would buy that gun with all the gold," and I was like, "Yeah, that's me." So, but yeah, going back, he got me into the NSCA, registered, and I was super excited. He's like, "Yeah, we're going to nationals this year." I'm like, "I want to go to nationals. What's nationals?" I had no idea what any of it was.
Yeah.
But he's like, maybe we should get you started off with with more of a fun shoot, more of like a shoot that you travel to. And so the very first shoot that I went to that was outside of Quill Creek or South Florida Shooting Club, it was actually Gary Fitzgerald's the Coonpecker. So that was my first.
That's a heck of an intro, man.
So I mean, Gary, I love Gary. He put on a great, whole show. I actually ended up being in the night Halise shoot off. Yeah. And I never even shot Halise, so I practiced earlier that day. I mean, I'm still really new. This is so I first picked up my first shotgun was May of 2023. Since I was a kid, I went hunting when I was a little kid, but
sure.
Other than that, I hadn't shot in 20 years, right? So And then I go to the coonpecker and, I'm shooting just some crazy birds. I'd never seen a downhill rabbit that was green that was just booking it.
Hauling.
I was like, "What kinda angle is that?" But,
Yeah.
no, the targets were amazing. VTAS was awesome. Met some really cool guys, Pete Malloy, Derek Mine, Pat Bartell, some really cool guys. And so, I just started loving the community, the camaraderie, and I was, like we talked about it before, I don't think you can go to any other sport or community where, that camaraderie is just so good. You're all trying to bring each other up. But yeah, no, so I just started loving it more, loving it more. Then I went to nationals, met Johnny from TGS, and then we became good buddies. So kind of going back to the coonpecker. Actually, this is a really funny story. So you know how important it is for the mental game, right, in
Oh
sporting
yeah.
plays.
You bet.
So we're at night. It's at night, right? We're doing the police shoot off, and they finally call me. And there's all these guns everywhere, right? And then it's just like, all right, Justin, you're up. And I was like, okay. And then so I was telling my buddy James, my business partner, I was like, all right, you're gonna get this on video, right? Because this is pretty cool. And then he's like, yeah, man, I'll get it. Don't worry. So I get up there, I call pull, boom, smash it with the first shot. I'm like, all right. And I throw the shell, put another shell in, push the button, pull, bam, nailed it with the first shot. And then I threw the shell away. And then I looked back to see if James was videotaping me, right? And so I go, and the first thing I see is like 60 people over here, like just watching me. And like there's all these lights shining. And then I look the other way, and there's another 60 people this way. And I was like, oh my God. And I'd never shot in front of anybody other than my squad mates, you know? So I was like, oh my God. And then James is like, he's got it, he's got my phone up, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. And I was like, okay. I go back, turn back around, load both my shells, pull, miss, put two more in, pull, miss, put two more shells in, pull, miss. And I was like, God, you So the mental game was shot. And then everybody you could hear was like, oh, yep, he took himself right out of the game. So for the whole rest of the weekend, Nick Amos and Ricky Bates and like a bunch of the other guys, they're all, Justin, don't look back. So, and it's
Yeah,
still
they
today.
let you
I
live
still
it
get it.
down, right?
Yeah, I get it today. I'm sure that joke will go like years into the future, but yeah, that was my first foray into like competitive shooting, and I started off strong, but
Those
I
first two
didn't
are
get
good,
there.
man. Yeah, no, that's a lot of fun. Well, you touched on the community, and you're exactly right. I mean, what an awesome group of people. Like you say, everybody's pulling for one another, and yeah, and especially in that Halise community, right? Because it is such a spectator sport, right? I mean, everybody's there, and but man, what a super fun game, and I think Halise is getting some traction. It's pretty cool. We got a couple rings here in Georgia.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. I mean, when you go to like the bigger events, so like last year, so my first year in 2023, I went basically to the Coonpecker and the Nationals, and then so then we launched GunsBay. So let's go back to GunsBay a little bit here. I told James, like, I finally got that Parazzi back from Holts, right? So I basically said, okay, I emailed him. I was like, hey, so I have no idea what I'm doing. I live in America. Can you guys help me out in figuring out how to get my gun here, right? And it was a Prati MX8, gold, everything, trigger plate, latch, trigger, everything's gold.
All the bling.
Yeah, it's just, and then so I literally, what I wanted it for was Halise. So if I saw 30 guns, I knew exactly which one was mine.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, some guys will say it's a little gaudy and all that, but I mean, I won't lose it.
Hey,
But I
to
have
each their
lost
own, man.
it. Yeah, no, it's a fun gun, and everyone's got their own little quirks in the game, right? So it's actually pretty weird too because it's got a custom beveled rib. So it's called
Wow.
a woodcock rib. So it's actually like carved out. So they call it like a floating bead. It's for like shooting woodcock in England, and I don't even
Wow.
know what a woodcock is, but I love it.
Hey, it doesn't stop you from shooting it, right?
Yeah. So anyway, I got it over here, no problem. They hooked me up with a guy over there that exported it. They found a guy that would import it for me, and then they sent it to my FFL down in Florida. And I was like, that wasn't so bad. It took a little while, but it wasn't so bad. And I think most people were just confused or scared of the idea of importing a firearm, right? Or else everyone would do it. So I talked to my buddy James, and I was like, hey, listen, he was doing real estate, and he wanted to get out of real estate. I just got out of the laboratory world, and so I was like, we should just get an import license and just buy these guns and then sell them over here in the States on like an online platform somewhere. I'm sure we could, find some margins in there to help at least pay for our shooting.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So we did that. And then I think I saw online somewhere like a meme on Facebook or Instagram where it was like, um, Amazon's the biggest retailer in the world, doesn't have any products. And then, Zillow's the biggest real estate conglomerate. They don't own any real estate. And I was like, we should do that for guns. And then also I'd purchased some guns online from a few different platforms and I'd never had any problems. But I would say that I've definitely had some anxiety along the way, sending cashier's checks through the mail, hopefully it gets there. Hopefully the
Yeah.
hopefully the guy's honest over there and he
Right.
sends the same gun.
Yeah.
I've actually had a buddy, who's actually gotten scammed, like through a PayPal thing through them, trying to buy a blazer. But so I just said to my buddy James, I was like, all right, so at least we can at least buy and sell guns to help pay for our shooting and help keep us in and pass on the savings to other guys that we like and know. But we should try to build an online marketplace where we just take care of the money. We integrate tracking. We just become a modern marketplace for guns online. And
That's
so he's
cool.
like, okay, I can see your vision there. Because there's a lot of options out there, but unless you're buying through a dealer through one of those marketplaces, it's still kind of, I don't want to say
Yeah.
sketchy,
Private
but
party.
so basically what we wanted to do was make it easy for an everyday normal guy to buy or sell his own guns online. So, it wasn't easy to get to this point. I would say the hardest part was getting the underwriting through the bank for the processing, right? So we had a lot of payment processors that would tell us yes, a lot of them in the community of guns, and they were like, yes, 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 we'd love to work with you guys. And then once it got to the underwriting through the bank, we'd always get denied.
No go.
Yeah, so it's just like it was kind of like a thing that didn't exist, right? To be able to do that. So we finally found somebody that's been doing it for a number of years, and she said, "All right, we'll just do it old school way. Run your guys' background for who your web developer was, this, that, and the other thing." And so finally we got approved. And man, we were thinking, if we don't get approved for this, like how are we any different from anybody else?
Right.
So
Right.
so we finally got approved, and man, I love that lady. She's the best.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah. At the end of the day, what we wanted to do was create this marketplace, for mostly, I don't care what happens to, I do care what happens to the website, but if we end up selling the most shooting towels in the world and that's the direction it takes, will be it. But what we wanted to do was be an online marketplace for firearms, mostly sporting shotguns, because that's what we know and love. And, just be able to connect all of us within that community. So
Yeah.
we've got some exposure on Trap Shooters Forum and some other different things, but we finally got all the bells and whistles dialed in with our website. And so, I think we're ready to start taking it more seriously. So,
Oh, that's great. Well, I had some time to, scroll through the website. And first off, y'all got a beautiful website, looks super clean and it was really easy to navigate. I got a lot of cool guns on there already. But yeah, man, what a absolutely filling a need in the industry. Folks that, may start with one gun and progress to the next. And, for them to be able to move that gun, and not take a big hit at, a local gun shop or pawn shop or something like that. You've provided an outlet for them to move that along, recoup some funds, and get what they want.
exactly. The only real way you kind of get your fair market value is if you find a buddy of yours who's willing to buy that gun. And so we try to present ourselves as that buddy that will help you sell that gun. Will help you buy
Yeah,
someone else buy that gun for you.
yeah,
Yeah, and so yeah, I think it's gonna start taking off. Just a word of mouth thing, and exposure, getting more SEO out there. We sponsored the Idaho State Championship last year. We have Nick Berry as one of our partners. He's a minority
awesome.
owner in our company, and so we sponsored the Idaho State shoot, all the sub gauge. We're going to be sponsoring all of the sub gauge on the Western Regionals this year, and we have a few other. We try to give. We're not like making a lot of money at this point right now, but we're also we want exposure and we want to give back. So we have a few other sponsored shooters too. We have Tad Wagner out of Montana, who's made the USA Briley All-American team in the 2028 and 410, I believe.
Awesome.
Yeah, and also the junior team. We got William Edgman out of Texas, and he's made the sub junior teams. When I met him in World VTAS this last year, I gave him a ride in my cart, and I watched him. He ran all 25 on that parkour right there. I
That a
was like,
boy.
"Oh, holy cow!" So he's like, "You should stay here. You're my good luck charm." I'm like, "I gotta go not shoot a 25."
I gotta go. Yeah. Well, when you and I first talked, what you struck me with this. We had the idea for the website and everything, but that's the first thing you told me is that you want to provide this platform, but you also want to give back to the community. And, just in that statement there, you guys are already doing that. So, I want to support you guys in that and get this out there, because this community, I mean, there's so many guns that are being traded, and sold and bought and everything. But this offers the secure online, way to do that. Right. And, with the transactions, it's not cashier's checks hopefully
Right.
showing up in the mail. And no,
Exactly.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we're very hands-on. We have a phone number, and it goes to 4 or 5 different people. So if we're not here in the office because we're at a shoot or something, it goes to all of our cell phones. You can always talk to somebody, and we just want to make sure that it's easy to use. You feel trustworthy about it. You don't have any anxiety using it. When we're by the book, you have to do the KYC verification through the website, and once the seller sends the gun to the buyer, he's got to send it to the FFL. The FFL does the background check. Then the buyer picks it up. Right?
Yeah.
The funds are released to the seller, and then you know nobody has any problems. And
Yeah.
we just want to make it as easy to use and as trustworthy to use. We just want to be there for people, basically.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean, I
that's
try to put
great.
myself in other people's shoes, and then in my own shoes in the past, it's just like, man, I do not feel comfortable right now, but I really want that gun,
Yeah. So I'm
So,
willing to risk it. Yeah.
yeah,
No,
gotta risk it for that biscuit. So, but yeah, we want everyone to keep all their biscuits now.
there you go. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, step me through. So if I have a gun and I'm looking to sell it on GunsBay, what does that process look like for a seller?
Oh, it's pretty easy. You just go through, you fill out all your basic information, who you are, where you live. You got to upload the front and back of your ID. Then, we list your gun. Also, so yeah, what we'll do is we'll have the Clay Lab. We'll have that be a discount code. So anybody that's watching this for 2 months after this airs on YouTube, then we'll have it listed. So you can list any gun for $5. So all you got to do is just take 15 pictures of your gun. Make sure they're good, high quality pictures, and then it's as easy as that. Once you get KYC verified, one of us in house has to verify each person, and then once you submit your auction, then it has to also be approved by somebody in house. So there's a lot of steps that go into place to make sure that it's all smooth. I've had to deny some that were based out of like Kuwait or something. So
Just not gonna
so
do it.
we just want to make, yeah, you
Yeah.
don't want somebody to list a gun and somebody loves it, and then it's like, oh, it's coming from Kuwait, like, no, it's not going to happen. So we want to make it smooth and easy transaction for everybody involved. We're very on top of it. I'm sure we'll have to start hiring a lot more people to stay on top of it, but right now we've got the manpower to make sure that everyone's taken care of pretty well, I think.
Man, that's great. And that's super cool. And the promo code, we'll make sure to get that listed. So then is it the seller, then is it a commission or a percentage of it that the GunsBay takes for listing it? Is there a listing fee beyond that?
No, that's it.
Oh man,
Normally,
that's great.
yeah, normally it's 49.95. The only downside I would see as far as somebody that wants to list it is we do charge up front, and the reason why we do that is to make sure that we try to limit like the scammers and the spam.
Yeah.
Um, but we can relist them if they don't sell within the time that period that you pick. We can relist them for $1. We just try to make it as easy, but also like we want to make sure that people are serious about selling their guns, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
you don't want to put up I don't know. Let's use my gun for example. My Parazzi MX8. We don't want somebody to put it up for $40,000 because it's just ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we want people to be smart, almost like the real estate market, right? You always have your agent who's always like, "Let's be realistic about this," So same thing goes here. I know you love your gun, but you haven't shot it in 15 years. Just put it up there for what you think it's worth.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the vetting and everything is obviously necessary, and that's just for the seller and the buyer, knowing that you go through that process. I mean, that should give them peace of mind as well, that it's all legit.
Yeah, we actually have we have an outside team, third party team that kind of shows us, like financially, fiscally, what we're supposed to be doing, and that does involve the KYC stuff. And then we also have a legal team, and they kind of advise us on certain different things. So some states might not be able to have full use of GunsBay. I won't say what those states are; they probably already know. But yeah, everybody else, I mean, it's basically the same as if you buy any other gun online. Like if you bought it from any other big retailers, right? They'll just send
Yeah.
it to your FFL, You go pick it up, you inspect it. If you don't like it, then, respond to us, tell us why you don't like it, what's wrong, or the barrel length's not the right lengths, is there scratches or whatever,
Yeah.
and we'll try to rectify it with both the buyer and the seller. And then, so we have a lot of good options, a lot of good, protections in place for both the buyer and the seller. So,
Cool. That's great. Yeah.
yeah.
So on the buyer side, as I was scrolling through the website there, it appears that are they all auction? Or are they some just up for, the
No,
buy it now or
yeah, we in the beginning and the interim period now where there's not as many users looking right now, we are starting to pump some into SEO and get more traffic. But I would kind of recommend that most people just, put their, I guess you would say, rock bottom price or their lowest price that they would take for it or whatever, and then just put it up there for a period of time, and then hopefully it sells within that period of time. But I do think at the end of this year, on our projections, that once the auctions start rolling, there'll be a lot more bidding wars. So it'll
sure.
be a lot better. But for now, I would say most of it is through our friends and also us putting our own guns into the website. You can actually see, so they'll have like the GunsBay logos in the background, but not also just not aside from silver pigeons and Prazis and Kriegoffs, we actually have some really cool older guns that we got from Holtz. We have
I
some
saw
wild guns.
The
Yeah.
Winchesters and 4570, and that's pretty cool
Yeah.
stuff.
We have a Purdy that in 1895 was owned by the Prime Minister. We don't have it back yet, but once we get it back, that's gonna go on the site too. An
Cool.
1895 Purdy owned by the Prime Minister. So that's pretty wild. We also got another German unmarked gun um, that just looks crazy, and it was owned by some soldier in World War II. It's got the provenance and all that stuff. Both of them have the provenance, but I remember we actually flew to England to go to the Holtz auction, and
Wow.
the guys came up to us later and, man, you got the steal of the auction. It was that German unmarked gun, and I was like, I just was so drawn to it. It looks crazy. It was pretty cool. It's like
What
little
was that
gargoyles
experience?
on it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you have pictures up on the website now?
We don't, but, I'll
Okay.
be sure to send you some pictures of it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's gonna be hard for me. So I remember I was talking to Nick Holt, who owns Holt's, and I was like, "Do you ever just wanna, like, keep that for your own collection?" He's like, "No, I'm a gun dealer, I have to sell the guns." And I was like, and it's like a good piece of advice that, I'm having problems with, but I'm trying to make sure that I just keep
Just
selling the
let it
guns because
go.
I want that gun really bad.
Yeah.
There's some
Yeah.
really cool
Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that experience
So
was
what
really
was that
cool.
process like? I mean, that had to be super cool to go over there and see all that.
Oh, it was so amazing. We flew into London. This was in the March auction this last year, and um, we flew into London. And we drove, and man, the pheasants in England are the fattest pheasants you've ever seen.
They're
I
well
mean,
fed, huh?
oh, man, they're just massive, and I was talking to Johnny because Johnny met us up there. He took us, to the pub, had a pint, which was older than America. The
Yeah.
pub was older than America, and I was like, my poor little brain couldn't fathom that this place had been standing longer than all of America.
That
I
is hard
still
to
can't
wrap your
wrap
head
my
around.
mind around it. I'm like, "Jeez." And poor
Wow.
John, Johnny is so tall, he's, like, ducking it's like he's ducking down. But, no, yeah, so we go up to Holt's, and, I don't know if you know this or not, but the grounds are like a royal land area. So it's royal airspace. There's no helicopters, no planes. It's so peaceful, so quiet, and it's just beautiful. I mean, these are, like, the history there is just magnificent.
Wow.
And then, where we're going in to, like, sit down and bid on these guns, this is where, like, the royal family used to, like, meet up before they would go on their hunts.
Wow. How
Yeah.
cool is that?
So, I mean, I'm just, like, getting smashed with all these, like, "What? What?" I was like a little kid in a candy shop, man. It was just the
Yeah, I
coolest
can imagine.
experience. Nick took great care of us. Nick, and his staff, they were amazing to us. It was funny because a lot of the locals don't really like Americans. Oh,
Mm,
not that they don't like Americans, but the Americans are coming over here to buy all our guns.
I could
But at
see
the
how
same
that
time,
caused a problem.
if you're the guy selling the guns, at least you're getting more money for them, right? So at least the
Right.
sellers are all happy the Americans are there. But
Yeah.
yeah, there was another gentleman there that was from Alabama or Georgia that was bidding on some guns. We were, like, fighting over the silver pigeons, and we're like, and then the other guys were like, "Man, those Berettas were going for too much." And it's like, "Well, tell me what the threshold is, man."
Right. Give me the benchmark here.
Yeah, because I know what they go for in the States, but I mean, but we figured it out. It was a good first experience, and the process of bidding on it was really cool, man. They have a good system going on over there.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool to be a part of it.
Now, do you have like obviously the importation of that? What does that look like on your end? I mean, you got a bunch of hoops to jump through on that. I mean, if somebody finds some guns, overseas that they want to import.
Yeah, I mean, even if they wanted to utilize us as their importer, we're more than happy to do that. We have it depends on where they're coming from. Out of England, we have a really good exporter who works with us. So we're the importers. So we work together. We send our paperwork from the ATF over to him. He gets that, does his thing, fills out his report, and then once they get sent, they get submitted, and either like the ATF will accept or deny. So then we send that back to him, and we say these are the guns that got accepted or approved. Crate those up together, and then ship those over. And then so once those get shipped over, they go through a customs agent, and then the customs agent will send them to us. So
Wow,
not
that's
not too
wild.
crazy. Yeah, but it
Yeah.
was a learning curve for sure. But we actually went to SHOT Show this year, and we actually found some pretty cool customs brokers, and we met a lot of really cool people. I mean, that place is massive. I don't know. Have you been to
Oh
that?
yeah. Nah, I haven't, but I see the footage every year, and man, it looks huge.
Man, and I had just gotten done snowboarding, and I had tweaked my knee really bad, so I was, like, limping, and I was like, "This is not," and then I saw other guys with, like, little scooter things, and I was like, "I will give you $200 for that right now, or $400, whatever you want." So, I mean, man, it was massive, and I was like, "I did not think this through when I was snowboarding."
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you need the scooter to get you around.
Yeah,
Oh
that was
man.
fun.
Well, that is super cool. I know it's just getting off the ground, but I think this is going to be really big. It's just um I get so many people that ask, they're looking for, hey, do you know anybody selling this, or I've got that, and I hear that stuff all the time. So I mean, this is such a great resource for everybody on that, and pretty cool. So kudos for putting all that together.
Yeah, it's a good connector, and it's just really cool about this industry is the people that you run into, man. It's well, like I mean, Jeremy and I were squatted together at the World Task, and then we
Yeah.
had Josh Brown, who's good friends with Johnny from TGS. So I told Josh, I was like, take a selfie and send it to Johnny, and then so Johnny was like, man, you got Jeremy, you got Justin, and then it was really strange is Virgil Minshew was on our squad, and then Virgil's from Florida, so I was like, "Hey, Virgil, long time no see," And then Lori Daniels was on our squad too, so we had a really cool squad, and it was just like a beautiful World Task, and we had a lot of fun shooting a lot of hard targets. This year, we're going to the Arizona State Shoot. We'll be there. That's next week. Then
Nice.
we'll be at the U.S. Open, the Florida State Shoot, the North American Task, and the New Jersey State Championship. Then the U.S. Grand Prix, the Idaho State Championship, the Western Regionals, and we'll probably see about going to nationals. I mean, I saw that the fee task was full, but did you see how fast Jack Link's filled up already for next year?
That was wild. I was at a venue coaching, and my lesson got done at noon, and it was like 12:10, and the guy behind the counter says, "Hey, did you sign up? Did you see Jack Links went live?" So I'm getting on there signing up, and it's 12:15, and it opened at noon, and I think I'm like 639. Like,
I'm like nine something. I'm 900 and something, and I mean, it's so funny because like I mean that's my normal number, but I'm usually like 6 months late to signing up.
right.
I was
Yeah.
6 hours late to signing up. So
It's
I
so
was like,
crazy.
"Wow, man, yeah."
Yeah.
They put on
Well,
they
this
that was a really well run event, when they had the food in all four corners, and they just it was well run, man. I think that was one of the best run things I've seen.
Yeah,
So
I mean, they've really, I mean, pretty
for
much
that amount
set
of
the
people,
bar.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and they do a great job there at Quail Creek, and the venue's beautiful, perfect place to host it. But yeah, next year is going to be wild.
Yeah, Quail Creek was actually the very first place I ever got a punch or won any money at. And it was funny because I won like $32, and I went back to my friends. I'm a professional shooter, you know.
Getting paid.
I'm getting paid to shoot. Don't worry about the $400 or $500 it costs to go shoot.
Yeah, yeah. We don't talk about that, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I got a
getting
check right
paid.
here that says I'm a pro. No,
Nice.
I really like it down there. A lot of good friends down there, but yeah, like we said before, you just can't beat the community, the camaraderie. Even like if you lost your phone, if you lost your cell phone or you lost your wallet, you got a 95% chance that that's being turned back in.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
I love the
everybody,
people.
that's so good. But it sounds like you're really enjoying it. So is home? You said Florida was home. Are you Idaho now?
Yeah, I
full
actually
time?
moved back up here to start up GunsBay with James. So yeah, our office is in Boise, Idaho, and it's been a good. This is actually where I went to school at. We both went to junior high, high school. He went to U of I went to Boise State. We don't talk about it that
Gotcha.
much because there's a little rivalry. Um, anyway, yeah, no, we're the best of friends.
Cool.
I'm more than happy to be back up here, and it's just Idaho's a special place for sure.
Yeah.
The
Beautiful.
mountains, yeah, the mountains hold a special place to me for sure. Fly fishing, snowboarding, you can't beat it.
Yeah, well, you definitely sound like an enthusiast, man. That's awesome. No, I'm glad that we could connect on this. I think that this is the perfect community to help get it off the ground, and I'm glad that we could connect on this.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think what we're trying to do is just save headaches. At the end of the day, just provide a service where we save headaches.
Yeah,
So, I think that speaks volumes if you can, alleviate some of that and be able to answer the phone when a client or customer calls you. Coming back from the laboratory world, I mean, you had to be on top of your game, especially during COVID. With phone calls, with communication. I mean, we did some big events. Like I sent test kits into Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan to like
wow.
concerts. So it's like if you don't stay on top of things, you lose the value of your word. And where I come from, that's pretty important. So
Yeah,
we're
for
just we're just
sure.
trying to do a good job and take care of people. At the end of the day, taking care of people is why I got into healthcare. So if I can do it with guns, that's really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Tie it in the passion. But yeah, man, I can't imagine being in the laboratory world during COVID. That
Oh
just had to
man,
be a wild time.
yeah. If I never see another microscope, I mean pipetters, tubes. Man, I'm so burnt out. It still hurts me.
Yeah, it's
Now I gotta go shoot some
selling
pipe
selling
pigeons.
shotguns and shooting's way cooler, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to connect with you in person at some shoots. Definitely see you at nationals, if not before.
Yeah, yeah, of
But man,
course.
it's been great having you on. So, how do folks get in touch, or what are social media channels, that kind of stuff, where they can find you?
Oh yeah, you can find us on GunsBay on Facebook, GunsBay Insta on Instagram. You can reach us any of the admin team at admin@gunsbay.com for email. You can find us on gunsbay.com, and our phone number is listed on there too. So I mean, we leave as many different ways and venues of getting a hold of us as there is. So yeah, whatever anybody needs. If you need to like figure out where a dog groomer is in Austin, Texas on Saturdays, we'll help you out. We won't say no about helping people out.
There you go. Well, I love it. You're right. You're providing a convenience, for people, and they're definitely going to get that customer service from you. So that's super cool.
That's one thing that we promise for sure. Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Justin, I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on the show, and I wish you the best of luck. And I hope GunsBay gets as big as you want it to be.
Yeah, appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You take care.
All right, man.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Go on gunsbay.com and check out and scroll through there and see what new guns you need in your safe. So tune in next time, and thanks for listening.
Thanks for joining us. Remember to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform to the Clay Lab so you don't miss an episode. Check out MadsonShootingAcademy.com or reach out to Cody at MadsonShootingAcademy@gmail.com. Consider joining as a channel member too by clicking that join button below on YouTube for early access to videos and podcasts. We'll catch you here next time on the Madson Shooting Academy podcast.